Alrighty, now that I'm back from the beard struggle project for a little bit, let's start banging out some questions that I've received on social media and in my emails. And also, that being said, I want this channel to be more so an open forum. So if you have any questions pertaining to hair, beard, nutrition, fitness, tech talk, or travel, go ahead, let me know in the comment section below or shoot me an email at dan@zigfitness.com. Alrighty, as you can tell from the thumbnail, today we're gonna be talking about abs. First things first, we all have abs. Some are better protected than others. They come in various shapes, sizes, and symmetries. And what differentiates one set of abs from another in regard to how apparent they are? It's gonna be your body fat percentage. Now, generally speaking, around that 10% mark is where your abs become very apparent. Now, that's very specific to the individual depending on where you actually store your fat. Some people store it in their stomach, some people store it in their trunk area as far as their glutes and their legs, so it's very specific to the individual. Now, when you're talking about those very defined abs like bodybuilders, physique athletes, and bikini competitors, and anyone else that has a great set of abs, I guess that's kind of ambiguous. Really, we'll say really defined abs, that's gonna be around that 3 to 5% mark in regard to your body fat percentage, or their body fat percentage. Now, for those of us that are wanting to acquire those more defined abs, I'm sure we've all heard this, that it's 80% in the kitchen, 20% in working out, but I would go so far as to say at least 90%, scratch that, 95% nutrition, 5% working out. And again, this is a very common misconception. A lot of people think, oh, it's all about the amount of side bends that you do or sit-ups or crunches. No, you can do all the sit-ups and crunches that you want, but if your diet is off, there is no way that you're getting abs. So I'll keep that at that. And then I also want to go a little further into the nutrition and talk about carbs. I'm going to keep this very general and just give an example. So when I'm competing, when I'm in my competition prep, the lowest that'll go with my carbohydrate intake is around 100 grams of carbs a day. So that's me. Now, on the other hand, when I start my prep, I'm around anywhere from like 200 to 225 when I start my prep. Now, I have my buddy who's a competitor. I think he gets up to about 260 or 280 pounds, and he goes to no carbs during his prep. So there's a big difference between, obviously there's a big difference between him and I, and it just goes to show that you don't know unless you analyze your own nutrition. Again, me being around that 200-pound mark, and I can still take in 100 grams of carbs and still be in a deficit, to where my buddy, he's 280 pounds, 260 to 280, and he has to zero carb it. You would think that he would be able to synthesize carbs more efficiently because he's bigger than I am, but that's not the case. And again, this is just one of the variables. There's still protein and fat to take into consideration, but I want to keep this simple for now. Now, I made reference to being in a deficit, and what I mean by being in a deficit, that's pertaining to your energy levels. We need to be burning more calories than we're taking in. So if you're taking in 4,000 calories, you need to be at least burning 4,000 calories to be at a maintenance level. Taking that a bit further, once you find your maintenance level, I recommend, now before you listen to any of these recommendations, please consult with a doctor or your physician first. Liability purposes. But anyway, so back to the maintenance level. So once we've found our maintenance level, I suggest subtracting 500 calories from each individual day. So if I'm taking in 4,000 calories and my weight is level, then I suggest taking in 3,500 calories, and then by the end of the week, you'll have a net loss of around 3,500 calories, and that equates to 1 pound. Now you may be asking, okay, all right, so I get that. I get that we need to be in a deficit, but how do I find out if I'm in a deficit? Like, what is my maintenance level? We'll get into that right now. When it comes into figuring out your maintenance level, your caloric intake, there are so many tools out there. Personally, I use Myfitnesspal on my phone. It keeps things super simple, and It's going to be kind of tedious, but I do think it's going to be worth it in the grand scheme of things. It takes away that very frustrating guessing game as far as, why am I not losing weight? I dropped my food intake, but you're guessing if you're not tracking. Another recommendation of mine is, if you don't know where you're at as far as your maintenance level pertaining to calories, track for 3 to 7 days. The more days, the better, and then you'll get an average. So track what you eat, when you eat it, and the amount that you're consuming, everything that you're taking in. This is liquids and solid foods. Now, how this is so handy, and Myfitnesspal isn't the only tracking app out there. Matter of fact, if you do use another app out there for tracking your intake, let us know in the comment section below. Okay, so now we're gonna dive into Myfitnesspal, and again, there's a lot of apps out there, but this will generally cover the gist of any other apps out there pertaining to nutritional intake and how you log. So let's get into this. Here we go. So this is the general layout. We're on the home screen right now. At the top, you see the goal. Don't pay attention to goal because you can, but I don't pay attention to it. The only thing that I pay attention to up top is the 586 for food. So we have that. Now let's go to diary. So clicking on diary, what we have here, looking at the top, again, it's going to have the goal, food, exercise, and what you have remaining, but the only number that I pay attention to is that 586. Now we go down, we look at breakfast, and this is pretty much everything, or not pretty much, this is everything that I had for breakfast. So let's click on Ezekiel bread. Right here you can see on the top 160 calories, 300, and it has the breakdown. So within that 160 calories, this is the breakdown pertaining to the macronutrients. You have 36 grams of carbs, 0 grams of fat, 6 grams of protein, and you can see the serving size is 1, but the number of serving size that I put in there was 2. Okay, so that is that. Now let's go back to the diary. Press back right here. So this has everything for you right here. Now let's click on the bottom right corner where it says more, and we'll scroll down to nutrition. This is a very important page. I use this all the time. What we have right here, I'm on the middle tab and it's labeled nutrients, and it displays everything that you've had for the day. So I've just had that one meal. I just logged that one meal, so that's all that it has for the day on here. And again, shows you the breakdown, but it goes a little more into detail than the previous page. So you have protein, carbs, fiber, sugar, fat, sat, fat, polyfats, monos, trans, cholesterol, sodium, and vitamins. And you can actually add in the preferences what you want displayed. So that's the nutrients, and then you can click the tab next to it, which is calories on the top. And it's going to give you your total caloric intake, where it says total calories 586. So that is that. Now let's go over how to log your food. So click on the home, go to diary, you click on whatever meal that you're at. And if you've already gone through your meals, you can go down to the bottom and just add them at snacks or anywhere else that you want to in your daily diary. But for this example, let's go to lunch. For lunch, add lunch, and right here shows a history of all the stuff that I have already had, which is neat, and it makes it very convenient. So if you eat more or less the same thing every day, you can just simply go in, click on it, and you're good to go. And you can go to multi-add on the bottom, click multi-add, and just sit there and just check all of them, done deal. Like for breakfast tomorrow, I generally have the same thing, so I'll just go to this, press multi-add, and click all of them, add them, and then it's good to go. But for now, I'm gonna show you, because a lot of you, this will be your first time actually inputting anything into Myfitnesspal. So let's go to lunch, press add food. Let's say orange juice, because again, liquids and solids, we are logging absolutely everything that we take in. So let's go to orange juice. So orange juice, 4 fluid ounces. So I'm having a glass of orange juice, and make sure and measure everything. So I measured it out and it's 8 fluid ounces. So we're going to go to 8 on here, and you see that serving size 1 fluid ounce, number of servings 8 ounces, and that brings us to 112 calories. And it has the breakdown, which is awesome. 25.8 carbs, 0.5 fat, 1.7 protein. So then you just press the little check mark in the top right of the screen. Boop. There we go. So that adds it, and as you can see at the top, it shows 698 calories. And then let's go into more, go into nutrition, and then click on that middle nutrition tab. And as you can see, everything went up, or most everything went up on this. Now we're at 54. Protein, 88 is where it really increased in regard to the carbs, and so on. So again, very convenient to have this Myfitnesspal, and yes, it's tedious in the beginning, but then you acclimate to the situation and it gets to be something to where you have your phone with you anyways. You just log in your phone, what you're eating, start eating, good to go. Try not to wait till after you eat, because a lot of times when we do that, we tend to forget. We are logging everything that we eat for either 3 days to 7 days. And in addition to that, you're also keeping track of your weight. And so when you are keeping track of your weight, make sure that you're consistent with your timing, because depending on the time of day, in the morning is generally when I do it, because I can be very consistent. Wake up first thing in the morning, go use the restroom, and then I weigh myself. I don't have to worry about if I've eaten the same amount as I did the day before. And what I mean by that, do you have the same amount of food in you or liquid? Because that'll deter your weight from time to time, and it'll make you really fluctuate. So if you work on that consistency, as far as weighing yourself first thing in the morning after you use the restroom, you don't have to worry about that fluctuation. So now, once we have that food log, and now we have our weight, and if you maintain the same weight, that's another thing. With tracking your food in the beginning to find your maintenance, do not switch from your ordinary dietary intake. Keep everything the same, because if you do switch things up, that's totally going to mess up all of your data, because we need to find out what you've been consuming for the past few months or years and see what your maintenance level is with that, what you're used to synthesizing ordinarily, collect that data, and then make the modifications and adjustments. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so now that we have the nutritional intake tracking figured out, and we figured out what our maintenance level is, then we go ahead and make those adjustments as far as subtracting 500 calories per day for the week. Again, consult with your physician prior to doing this. But once we've subtracted that 500 calories, by the end of the week, we should be negative 3,500 calories, which equates to about 1 pound. Now, if this is your first time doing this, you'll probably see more of a weight loss, let's say around probably that 4 to 5 pound mark. Now, that's because in most cases, most of us are going to be subtracting carbs from our daily intake. Now, when you subtract these carbs, you're also going to be subtracting your normal water retention. And that's because when you consume carbs essentially, in layman's terms, they pull water with them. So not only do you have the carbs in you, you're also retaining that water. And so again, that's in layman's terms. I'm trying to keep this very simple. Long story long, this being your first time, you'll probably be negative maybe 3 to 5 pounds during your first week, but that'll level off as your body acclimates to not having as many carbs in your system, if you choose to cut your carbs. All right, so I think I'm gonna stop there. Now, going back to what I was saying as far as apps for food tracking and liquid tracking, nutritional intake tracking, if you know of any, if you use another one, if you think that they're better than Myfitnesspal, let us know in the comment section below. Also, you might be surprised that I didn't touch on workouts whatsoever, aside from saying that they're 5% of the battle when it comes to abs. If you do want me to put some ab workouts on the channel, let us know in the comment section below. And also, one other thing that's very important when it comes to abs. I've said this before, there are a lot of us that already know what to do in regard to obtaining abs, but it's a matter of perseverance and accountability. That being said, you need to make sure that you have a relationship. It sounds super cheesy, but you need to make sure that you have a strong relationship with your goal, because that's going to help you in the long run. That's going to help hold you accountable, and that's going to help in regard to perseverance. And if you want me to touch on that topic as well, or not touch on it, but actually go deep into the topic pertaining to goals, I'll go ahead, I'll put that up as well. Just let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, I think that's going to do it. I hope that you found this video helpful, perhaps intriguing. If you did, please go ahead and give this a thumbs up, and maybe even subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Until next time, peace! We out.